Hey everyone, so the last video that I made, I was saying that I was not feeling well and that I could feel something in my neck, like a lump, and the swelling has gone down now that I'm no longer sick, but I still called my doctor today and she'd like me to call back on Monday just to check in to see whether or not we should do an extra blood test or an ultrasound or something. So I'll let you know what happens with that. So the main thing that I wanted to talk about today was this realization that I had about chemo brain. I already talked about it a bit in a different video, but today I just wanted to talk about it a little bit more and about how I've been trying to get out of survival mode, because that is just where I was for a long time and I didn't realize that I was still doing things day to day as if I was still in survival mode. And I really want to be in a productive mode where I can work towards my goals and dreams. And you can't work towards goals and dreams if you are constantly in survival mode. And so I also talked about in my last video how I had to go into survival mode when I had this relapse scare, and I still find myself slipping into it because I'm so paranoid, which is another reason why I'd like a professional to let me know that everything's okay, so that way I don't keep slipping into this, place of wanting to distract myself and shut down my thoughts and all those things that aren't helpful. So I wanted to show you guys this diagram drawing thing that I made. It's not the best thing in the world and it's definitely not academic in any way. It's just something that I wrote down because it helped me figure out what I meant by survival mode and what kind of mindset I wanted to have to achieve my goals and my dreams. And so for the simplicity of this video, I'm going to call them survival mode and productive mode. So what I did was just write down what these modes were and the components that made up them, and then the activities that I could do that existed outside of work and study, so the activities that I did in my free time to build these habits, what they were going to be and how they were going to help me reach this kind of mindset or get me into this habit of thinking in a productive mindset. So you can see here that for my productive mode, and I know that this is kind of lame, it is kind of lame, but I don't know, I found it really helpful. So you guys might find it helpful too if you really want to get out of survival mode, you think this could help you with your chemo brain. I don't know, maybe I would write this down, for yourself. So the 3 skills or components that I wanted to build on that I think needed to be worked on to be able to be productive were improving my short-term focus and attention, my long-term focus and commitment, and making sure that I still had relaxation and pause in my life. So for my short-term focus and attention, I wrote down just focusing on one task at a time, being mindful with my tasks. So when I'm driving, just driving, when I'm cooking, just cooking, and when I'm cleaning, just cleaning, things like that. I don't have to always have a podcast or an audiobook in the background. I can just focus on the task at hand, and I end up really enjoying the thoughts that I have or just being lost in the task. There's something really nice in just focusing on one thing and getting it done properly. So the other thing that I wrote under short-term focus and attention is writing. I find that really, really helpful for me when it comes to my attention span, because the more that I practice sitting down and writing, the easier it becomes to sit down and write. And writing, when you're doing it, you can't focus on other things. It doesn't lend itself to multitasking the way that some other hobbies can. So I really enjoyed it and it's been really helpful. So for me, long-term focus and attention is about those long-term goals that require active involvement. You need to expend energy to get those things done, but they're really helpful because the more that you get into the habit of committing to things and finishing those goals, then the more motivation you have to set more long-term goals, which helps you be more productive. So for me, walking 5 times a week is a big exercise goal, and I've been keeping that up recently. That goal originally started off as 3 times a week, but I find that now that I'm in the rhythm of walking, it becomes easier to walk more. Not biting my nails is kind of a long-term commitment thing that I've been working on. It hasn't been working out that well. My nails have been okay, but not the best. I still have nail polish on. You can see that they're chipped and not looking nice. But the nail polish helps me not bite them. But that is something that I need to keep working on because it's such an unconscious, subconscious thing that I do, and especially when I'm nervous or bored. So I need to find other ways to direct that nervous energy. So another activity that I'm working on to help me build my long-term focus and commitment is to continue my Spanish Skype sessions Sunday mornings. This session is just for me to build my Spanish skills. I am very advanced and I used to be fluent, but I've just lost it it over the years, and it makes me really angry that I've lost it, as it was the first language that I knew. So having those lessons are really important for me, but they also help me build my focus and have that kind of long-term commitment to myself. So another activity is writing my novel, to sit down and write it. And to help me write it, I decided to participate in NaNoWriMo. For those of you who don't know what NaNoWriMo is, it is National Novel Writing Month, and National Novel Writing Month is November. For NaNoWriMo, to win the kind of competition, to participate in the month, you're meant to write 50,000 words. But of course, you can decide to set your own goals. And so I set my own goal of 25,000 words, and I was really excited to, add that to whatever I'd already written as part of my story. But I really surprised myself, and I was able to continue and keep up with the word count that we had to keep to reach 50,000 words. And so we're just over halfway through the month. Not just halfway, we're 2/3 through. But I've been keeping up with it. I've been keeping up with the goals that you're meant to set for yourself to reach 50,000 words. And so it's been really exciting to see that I have surpassed my own goal. I already passed 25,000 words. I'm on like 31,000 at the moment. And so I'm going to finish this month with 50,000 words. And that's part of my activity to also help me have these long-term goals and help my long-term focus, because it takes up so much of my afternoon to go for my walk, to eat, and then to write, that I don't have time for these kind of distraction activities that I used to spend so much time on or doing. Even though NaNoWriMo has been really difficult, as it always is really difficult, I'm really grateful because I feel like I have been so productive this month because I don't have time not to be. So the activities that I've been doing for relaxation and pause include being more mindful, walking, just free thinking, which just means letting my thoughts run, not trying to control them or use them to be productive or trying to squash them, just letting them go free, like when I'm walking or when I'm driving or things like that. Meditation is another activity, but I haven't needed to use it that much recently. I used it a lot when I was stressed out earlier in the year with my studies. And so it's always there as a tool to use if I get overwhelmed, but I've been doing okay recently. So something else that I wrote down was reflections. And I don't mean this in like diary entries or journal entries that much, not in that traditional way. I just mean sometimes I grab this book or grab another book and just start noting down things that I've been thinking about, thoughts that I've been having, or noticing thought patterns that I have. If I suddenly have realized that I have a kind of pattern of thinking, sometimes I write down what I want to do for the day, for the week, for the month, for the year, for the next 5 years. If I find myself thinking a lot about that, if I keep thinking, oh, I have to remember this, I have to remember that, or I want to do these things the next year, and they keep popping up, I just find if I write them down, they don't pop up in a distracting way anymore. And so yeah, that's what I mean by reflections, is just by putting some thoughts on paper and leaving them there. And if I want, I can go back to them. I just find it helpful. I don't know why, but they seem to get quieter. I don't think that they feel the need to constantly remind me that they're there. And so that's something that I've been doing, and I have a lot of stationery now for that reason. So they're the activities that I've been doing recently to help me be more productive, and I have found it's been helpful. I don't find myself slipping into chemo brain or survival mode as much. So I'm going to just talk about survival mode now, and there are 3 components that I think make it up. And I just want to remind you and also me that survival mode isn't a bad thing. It's really important and helpful at different times. It helped me when I was having my cancer scare, and when I was going through chemotherapy, it helped me then. But you have to be able to switch into it and out of it. You shouldn't be in that mindset all the time, and we can end up slipping into that. So the first one is pretty basic, being future oriented. This really was just me not being present, not being mindful, and always thinking about my goals as things that were really far away, and they were for a different version of me, a version of me that would be fully recovered and maybe have these different traits or habits that I didn't have right now. So I couldn't work on them. But of course I can work on them. I can work on them today, and there are lots of things that I can work on today, but I wasn't focusing on those things. I kept pushing my goals into the future for future me to deal with. The next thing is like numbing emotion. So this is just not getting excited over little or big wins in case I got worse or relapsed. I didn't realize this, but I really had become good at numbing my emotion in a lot of ways. So I wouldn't necessarily feel sad. I would just feel pretty neutral and numb, which doesn't really help you be productive because you don't feel like doing anything. It's really demotivating not to feel any positive emotions, even if you're protecting yourself from negative emotions. And so that was part of my way of dealing with anxiety and dealing with the sadness that I experienced when I had cancer and going through chemotherapy. But it's really important to get excited over things and celebrate when you do have little wins or big wins or have achievements. It's okay to be excited as well. I think I was just always so scared of being excited for things and then having that thing taken away from me, and for me just to get worse. I think I've just always had this relapse thing hovering above me and just dampening a lot of my experiences when I should just be super excited and celebrate them to the fullest capacity. I really think that there was some weird warped idea around karma, or I don't know, not even karma, I don't know the word, but it's like if I would feel really, really good, I was definitely going to feel bad at some point. So I couldn't feel that good because who knows, I might relapse. But if I do relapse, I'll probably be thinking I should have enjoyed my time while I was well and I was healthy. So I've become more aware of how I numb my emotions, and I'm trying to celebrate things and be happy for things and be excited and let myself be excited in silly ways, even if other people might think it's silly or I want to like dismiss it because I don't want to get too excited in case something bad happens, because I don't know what will happen in the future, but I'm well now, so I want to enjoy what I have now. And to be productive, I need to be in touch with my thoughts and my feelings, because if not, I'm not going to be able to harness those emotions to help drive me towards my goals, to help me stay motivated, to help me stay passionate or excited for things. If I'm constantly numb, I'm not going to care. So the third component, and the biggest one for me, I think, was distraction and shutting down my thoughts. So the activities that I was engaging in are things like multitasking, watching lots of YouTube videos, checking my phone all the time, constantly listening to podcasts and audiobooks, even when I didn't need to. And it was kind of stupid to listen to something for 3 minutes as I walked from like my car to work, or, you know, from the kitchen to the bathroom. Like I was just constantly listening to something so I didn't have to think. Scrolling through social media absent-mindedly, like listening or reading little articles about obscure things that I don't actually need to know about, just not being mindful in general, and playing video games, things like that. Just shutting down my thoughts with any other little hobby that provided a nice quick fix, a nice feel-good feeling, but I didn't have to actually think. These things were all things that were just contributing to me being distracted and shutting down my thoughts, and in turn helped me survive. But those things don't help me be productive and don't help me thrive. So even though I've become a lot better at switching out of survival mode, I still find myself sometimes slipping into it. And it's often when I've like, I don't know, fallen into a YouTube video hole where I'm just watching video after video, and I don't want to stop doing that to do whatever productive thing that I know I want to do, like go for my walk or start writing. And I find that it's really hard to pull myself out of it once I'm in it. So instead, what I've been trying to do is that if I fall into one of those YouTube video holes, or I'm just doing something that's really unproductive, that really matches more with my survival mode habit of distracting myself, shutting down my thoughts, I'll wait until I am interrupted in some way. So when it's time to eat and I'm going to eat dinner, I find that as a great moment to interrupt what I'm doing. So when I finish eating, I won't open up YouTube, or I won't open up some other distraction-based activity, and instead go for my walk, or instead open up my laptop to do writing. Sometimes it's really hard because I can just put off eating if I'm just like lost in YouTube videos or something like that. I'm just going to keep using that as an example because you're watching a YouTube video, so you obviously understand what it's like to just get stuck on YouTube. But even if there are no other interruption activities, like I have found myself going to have a shower and I'll still play an audiobook or a podcast, like as if I'm addicted to it. And then when I get out of the shower, I'll still play it, as opposed to just like drying myself off in silence and doing that mindfully. Like I might have to just, I'll feel like I need to be listening to something. So sometimes things like showers or eating or things like that don't work. I normally try to use even just going to the bathroom as an interruption activity, so that way when I go, I don't take anything with me. I just go to the bathroom, and when I finish, I think, okay, you've restarted, you've refreshed, what do you want to do now? So that's why I have this like interrupting bit here. You don't have to go back to doing whatever you were doing. And so that doesn't always work, but I do find it helpful because it's really easy to slip into, you know, things like watching YouTube videos, because I do love doing that and I still watch so many YouTube videos, but I don't want to watch YouTube videos for the sake of it. I want to decide I'm going to sit down now and watch it. I'm going to choose to engage with this content, and it's probably because I actually really am excited about the person making the video and about the video content itself. So I just want to be more mindful about the things that I do, and I want to look for opportunities to help build the habits that I want to build, such as having short-term focus, long-term focus, and having moments of relaxation and pause. I don't know if this was helpful at all for you, but hopefully it was. I just really like knowing the reasons why I'm doing something and how they fit in to different things. And so I found it really nice to look at the activities that I was doing before that weren't helping me, and the activities that I can do now that will help me towards my goals and being productive, and how they help me in different ways, the kinds of skills and habits I'm trying to build for myself. Because I want these things to be my default go-to. I don't want my default go-to activity to be something that's passive and mindless and more based in survival rather than thriving and engaging with the world. So thank you for watching this video, and please leave your thoughts down below and let me know if you are doing NaNoWriMo this year, because I would love to just chat to you down below in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye.